Don't be afraid of me because I'm black. I don't deserve your ruthless attack. All I want is to live in peace, but you won't rest until I'm deceased. You brought me here. I never asked to come. Now you're telling me to go back to where I'm from. Are you afraid that I'll do the same now that I'm onto your evil game? Don't blame me. You taught me hate, and now in my eyes you can see your fate. Your sins unrepented. Your debts go unpaid. Don't you think I'm the one who should be afraid? That's the first poem I ever wrote. I was in an Iowa jail. I was a 19-year-old freshman, scared, homesick, missing my mother. She didn't know I was. See, I'd lied and told I was staying in Iowa for football camp. Actually, I'd been arrested for getting my white girlfriend pregnant. Her parents, in that little town, still trapped in a time where what I had done could have been handled with a lynching rope, were accusing me of rape. You know, even though the case was eventually thrown out, accusations like that never really go away. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let me start at the beginning. My story starts like most. Two people in love. It's 1967. and George Maynard Wellington de Cruz. A 22-year-old Guyanese boy escaping from home in an arranged marriage landed in St. John's, Antigua, where he met Yulin Adina Tung, the 18, almost 19-year-old daughter of an overbearing Methodist mother. He would hide 3 houses away and whistle a melody I learned as a boy. It was their code, a signal for mommy to steal away from my grandmother, ever watching eyes, and join him so they could share their new love. I was born Kenny Athel George de Cruz, the fruit of their hunger, conceived on a bed of wet, dewy grass, out way too late to come home early, definitely in trouble with my grandmother. Mommy said she tried twice one of those European abortion pills they were experimenting with Caribbean people in the 70s to hide me with that pill. The first time I jumped in her stomach, the second time I jumped in her stomach, scaring her. The first time it didn't work. She said she told my grandmother and endured the tongue lashings and ass whippings that followed. To a 19-year-old mother, I was born. Young 19-year-old girl just stepping into a world of missing baby father and disapproving mother. You should have, could have. 19-year-old girl giving up dreams for unseen baby boy, yet all I've ever known is joy. Joy that hid the fact that we were poor and daddy wasn't with us anymore, because I still had the best birthdays and Christmases anyway, and every day I knew my mother loved me. My very closest friend, and sometimes I try to remember living inside your belly so I can see all the parts of you that are me. Because all the good parts of me I got from you. My love and my smile, even the smile of my child I got from you, my 19-year-old mother. So you see, I spent the first third of my house in my grandmother's pink and yellow house in a third world, enjoying a third world life. Sun-kissed days we would climb fruit trees and eat our bellies full, pelt each other with the wet juicy seeds which would stain your uniform and bring a box to you when you got home later. Hanging out in the tailor shop with my grandfather, learning to cut and iron and sew cloths. He was an artist who worked as a tailor to make a living. I could see his love of colors and patterns in the cloths he chose. He was absolutely my first influence. Listening to my mother's beautiful voice as she sang in holiday concerts. 85-degree Christmas mornings where I would run and play outside all day with my brother Jamie and my sister Nikki and all the new toys we got. Being in the kitchen with my grandmother, learning all of her recipes serendipitously. See, in the 70s, we still had an outside shower, an outside shit house, an outside kitchen. So she would stand in that outside kitchen and call to us. You little boy, you come out, you come find them fly off of the food while me cook. That was our job, fanning the flies away from her food as she cooked. And that's how we got the recipe. Because you see, she never said, I don't need 1 cup of this and 2 teaspoons of that. She would say, you little boy, come go to the store, go buy a little time, give me, and bring 2 scallion too. And no bother waste no time out there, Papi, show yourself. What she did drill into us, as she fanned those flies, were her life lessons. I better learn how to cook, and I better learn how to clean. Yes, mother. And I better learn how to iron. Yes, mother. And I better learn how to sew. Yes, mother. Because if I learn how to do them something, woman are going to take advantage of iron and turn iron a Papi show. Yes, mother. You know, she was right. Most of the guys I grew up with once I got to America really didn't have that kind of training. So their women treat them like Papi shows, clowns. Me, I have yet to find a woman that could cook, clean, iron, or sew better than me. Yes, mother. You know, I miss that old lady. When I think of her, I think of home. When I think of home, I think of marbles. Winner take all of these big fights we used to have about whether the winner take all rule was even in effect. Kite from coconut tree branch stems, we would run and fly kite all day over hot asphalt that make you hop like Maasai. Climbing mango trees and yamming mango to the juice run down your arm and drip off your elbow. Guava trees, and guava cheese, bread and cheese, and bun and cheese, and coconut tart that make your heart jump for carnival, jump for Juve man, you know, wind up behind some sexy body girl. No care what nobody tell you, you will always be my sugar apple. Running from John Bull, running from Makajumbi, running to play all day Sunday, the turquoise ocean, and eat red juicy pomegranates, and yellow June plums, and sweet sap, and sour sap. My grandmother used to make us eat the stem of the sour sap when you pee in the bed, to make you stop pee in the bed. And if you cover up with the sour sap leaves under a blanket, it will bring down your fever. Rain falling on galvanized roof that lull lovers to bed and children to sleep. To awaken to the cock-a-doodle-doo of the cock-fall at dawn and run, play again all day. Remember the joy, the third world boy, oblivious to the USA. I remember grandmother could sit you on her lap and finish her sewing while you took a nap. I remember fanning my flies in the kitchen and saving my fingers for licking after the pumpkin fritters. Saturday morning doses of ferrol, cod liver oil, Dr. King sulfur bitters, center. See, the Saturday mornings was purging day in the Caribbean. That means we would all have to line up in front of my grandmother and take doses of the tonic she said would clean us out. First was the ferrol. Nasty and mentally like drinking a cup of iron. Then it was the cod liver oil. Oily and fishy. Then it was the Dr. King sulfur bitters. Bitter, bitter. Yes, mother. Then it was the Senna. Now, I'm not talking about the Senna top pills that you buy here in North America. I'm talking about the Senna Bush that we used to have to buy from the little British drugstore. The man would give it to us in this little brown bag. We would bring it home, give it to grandmother. She'd put it in a pot of hot water and boil it, dry it down, and give you to drink. Now, as a parent, I realized this old lady was truly brilliant. She kept our systems clean. We really did not get sick as children. But I also realized now, she never had to worry about us wandering too far away from the house. Because you see, when that Senna hit on them Saturday mornings, you don't want to be off kicking nobody's soccer ball or playing no marble, no cricket with no friends. You want to be in that backyard, me in that shit house. Your boy, hurry about in there. Me out, just shoot up myself for you, boy. It's too late, man. And I remember Saturday mornings in the supermarket, she had this trick she would use if you started misbehaving. She would walk over to you, all the while waving, saying hello to the people she met. You girl, good for see you. A long time when I see you. How your mommy doing? As she took your ear and turned it slowly backwards, as you twist it up onto your tippy toes in pain. And she's still waving. I see you in church on Sunday, darling. She only had to do that to me one time. I would see the stare, drop what I was doing and run to her side. Yes, mother. And I remember waking up Sunday morning to the smell of saltfish. See, she would get up early and boil the saltfish. And boil it like 3 times to get off all the salt. And then we would go to church. When we came back home from church, she would finish breakfast, boil the eggs, fry the plantain, and make the chop, which is eggplant and spinach and okra, cook up together and chop with butter and spinach and little salt. And then chop up the tomatoes and the cucumbers and send me and my brother Jamie to Mr. Daniel's bread bakery for fresh bread, and we could, man, smell a block away. And we got in trouble every Sunday. Because you see, usually when Mr. Daniels handed you that fresh bread, it was piping hot and just out the oven. You just put the cheese in and close it and it just melt right away. And this bread, it had a plaque going down the center of bread, which we used to break off and eat, which my grandmother hated. So instead of both of us getting in trouble every Sunday, we decided we just start taking turns. On my turn, we walk into the backyard, give mother the bread, and she would say, "But which one are you picking, nigga boy? Nyama have the bread plate." And Jamie would say, "Mother, I can't do it." And I get a box upside my head, we run off to the backyard, finish the rest of our black frat and a good laugh. The following Sunday, when it was his turn, we walk in. "Your mother Vanji and she the bread." And she said, "But I never have the bread plate again. Who do them?" And I would say, "Mother, Jay, we do it." And he would get a cuff upside his head, we run off to the backyard. The rest of our black frat and a good laugh. And she would make real cocoa tea from real chocolate sticks, not no powdered shit from Nestle's Quicks. And then one breakfast morning, a stroke dragged her from her chair. And I tried holding her fist till my little boy's strength was gone. She fell to the floor. "Mother! Mother, wake up! Mother! Mommy, you have to go! Mother, father, now come! Mother, wake up! Mother, wake up! Mother! And the doctors at the hospital broke my little boy's heart, taking you from us. It's now, I realize most grandmother, I still feel you close. My mother has your face. Auntie Gloria has your taste. Auntie Kathleen got the stare. And Auntie Bonnie, your kitchen flair. And I have you in spirit to guide me through this valley. I know you got my back. Love you, grandma. But now mommy ain't got no more reason to stay, Relatives came from America, dragging their suitcases filled with tears, demanding mommy return to America with them. "You girl, why you tap your for? Mother gone. You let down your fire, Why I could do ya? And the picnic them father done gone already. So mommy gave in. So we had to wait for Barbados for our visas, and we started planning our illegal migration to America. I can remember the Sunday morning she gave us the good news. Church had just let out, man. And I was trying to steal away with my new girlfriend, Lucinda Cadet, for a little after-church petting. Mommy called us as we made the bending of the corner. "Yeah, boy, come here. Where you guys going?" "No, yeah, mommy. No, we were no here. Boy, come here." "Yes, mommy. Son, I have wonderful news. The visas from Barbados have arrived. Your aunts are going to be sending the money for our tickets. We'll be leaving for the States soon." "But mommy, you know why I'm in America." "Young man, you speak properly." Mother, I'd much rather stay here in Antigua with grandfather. She hated when we did that, made fun of her British accent. She called it speaking properly. But if you got under her skin, and the African Antigua patois would come out. You look at what I'm saying, go on, go sit down and stop talking righteousness. "Yes, mommy. But mommy, you know why I'm going to America? Nothing I'm going to marry about America. You know why I'm buying a mango there supermarket, more for pick them off a mango tree, and besides, all the milk and honey done share out. There's only hand-to-mouth living. In government projects, the guns are barking instead of dogs. And the sirens have replaced the sounds of the crickets and frogs at night. The policeman keeps watching me. I see him creeping to my dreams, arresting my aspirations. So, mommy, no one go America. Cause nothing now go marry about America. My pleas fell on deaf ears. We came dressed in stiff suits built by my grandfather. I can remember landing in Kennedy Airport and seeing the lights of a New York sky. Mommy lied with a straight face as a man checked our papers. Business or pleasure? Oh, pleasure. We're just here visiting family. And how long will you be staying? Oh, just 2 weeks. I vomited the first time I saw Manhattan. Skyscrapers look nothing like coconut trees, and all the nasty man-made smells, they got to me. I wore this big coat, it was winter cold, and searched Manhattan all day for the streets paved with gold. My island accent and my sun-black skin made me hard for me to fit in, especially with the American blacks. They always rode my back and asked me for bananas from the boat I came in on. My Caribbean culture, the topic of their fun, and then without me knowing, I guess I started showing a few American traits. The accent started going faint. Maybe I would fit in, and this thought made me grin, but what a short smile. I mean, I played African American for a while. Played baseball for a while. Kicked ass in American football. Shit, I even held hands with a white girl in the mall. Of course, now I remember the stares and the jeers by the white cats on my team, but back then, I was kind of busy chasing my American dream. In them days, before the murder, OJ's life seemed pretty nice. The NFL, some money, a blue-eyed wife. So I wrote me a scholarship to the Midwest. Look for the blonde hair, blue-eyed vest. Put a brown little baby inside her womb, assuming Jim Crow wouldn't mind, but I'd cross that sacred line in Midwest Iowa. Dipping my black island penis into an ancient white taboo, not what will I do? Spent a couple months in jail and had to come back home to the ghetto to let mommy know I crossed that sacred line. The sheriff, he had a rope in mind, and her daddy said he couldn't see how she could let black nigga me lay down on top of lily white shit and make that ugly brown nigga baby, so he kicked her out. Now she got to come live with me. I really wasn't feeling white people all that much at the time, but I also have to deal with my half-white child, and I love the whole of him. And all white people ain't bad. So I became a full-time dad. Put down the mad. Well, just directed it, respected it, corrected it. But kept it in the middle of my chest, and sometimes it bulges like double D breasts. I paint, and I write. These are my fight. My words in the future can shed some light on the shit that is going on in America today. Mommy, no one of America. Not now America. No, maybe I blinked, huh? I don't think I remember seeing her from the plane. I was looking for an Ellis island vibration when I entered this nation, but this place wasn't mine to have. One day, I went looking for her to get some liberty from her. I wondered if she'd have anything to say, but I think they closed her mouth the same day they closed Ellis Island. I walked inside her dress and looked up past her breast to see her crown near from the ground. The stairway to her brain moved slowly as a midday train, and as I climbed to the top, the stairs, they seemed much steeper. When I looked the way I came, the bottom seemed much deeper. The top was claustrophobic and made plenty people sick. The door to the heaven stretched arms was off limits. No one could go there anymore since Ellis Island closed her doors, but I wanted to go up there and see what Carlucci and McGinnis and Goldstein and Switzy and my name is Mandingo or Sanchez or Mohammed, and now today it's off limits to me. She represents America in more ways than they know. I climbed to her top to find these doors where many entered before and now not anymore. I descended her stairwell of iron cold, realizing this liberty had lost her soul and all her liberty had been sold. To those who could pay with their white skin, Mr. Ellis would check them in. European second home where the Indian and Buffalo used to roam, and third world people get sent back home. by xenophobic offspring of European boat people who now write laws that would have sent their great-grandparents back. Back to Ireland, back to Italy, back to Russia, back to Eastern Europe, back to Western Europe, back to feeling black and brown like third world people waiting for Mr. Ellis to write his sequel from her beacon hand glows were a white freedom. Cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. I lift my lamp beside the golden dome. But for third world people, it doesn't seem to be a not anymore. So maybe I blinked. We stayed 16 of us. Yeah, 16 of us in my aunt's two-bedroom apartment, fighting for any place flat to sleep at night. Mommy eventually got us enrolled in school. We set off on a journey trying to become Americans, you know? She got a job putting batteries in boxes. Batteries in boxes. $2.65 an hour. My mother, the singer, with batteries in boxes, batteries in boxes, batteries in boxes, batteries in boxes, 305 days of the year for over 8 years, so that we could have a better life here in America. I hated it back then. Sometimes I still do. And this time I saw Daddy again. This time I saw Daddy again. Hey, Albert. Come here, also so pissed off with Daddy. Are you kidding us, man? He left us. He left Mommy, and now we got to come up here and find out he got another family like we were some practice batch or something. Yeah, but you remember when he told us, when we asked him what happened? Yeah, you remember he said something about, but you're young now, wait till you get big man and you have children, you understand? Well, you're a big man now, you got a lot of children with different women. Yeah, but I didn't run from any of them, did I? You're right, you didn't, but Mommy said Daddy was young. He was only 23. Think about all the dumb shit you did when you was 23. I remember Daddy. I love Daddy. I miss him, man. And besides, he's been saying sorry ever since. It's time for you to forgive Daddy. You're a daddy. It's time for you to forgive you. I love you, Iyaba. Kenny, I love you too. Dear Daddy, I've been writing this letter since you left us in Antigua. I think I was like 4 when I didn't see my daddy anymore. Man, I missed you. And I was pissed at you. You know, you're gonna leave my mother. I hated you for many years until I hold the floor of tears. I mean, I wanted my daddy. You know, I've stumbled into manhood and learned I can't blame you anymore. I don't blame you anymore. I'm you. In many ways, I'm just like you. I have 5 children with 3 different women, but Daddy, I didn't run from any of them. Today I can say I love you very much, Father of mine, but I want you to help me make sure my sons do not stumble away. I love you, Daddy. You know, I know my father sinned, you know, too many women, too much vagina, too many lies. And I've stumbled the same way, but having children having children, especially daughters. This morning, my daughter Oni stepped into womanhood. Now, I remember every line I have ever spoken to every woman. In fact, each one of my children's births forced me to go deeper down into myself. Down another wrong, trying to find a black man strong enough to raise 5 black children in a land that sometimes swallows black children whole. And then Rastafari, save my soul. Mine start around my heart. The roots go down to my toes. 30 years ago, they started sprouting out of my brain like cosmic antennas tuning into the Most High. Really. I never meant for you to think it was a hairdo and run through your hair and twist to look like this. Natural living, peace and giving, telepathic vibes, beating drum, gorilla chess. Ganja health, dissect the stress. Ye shall not round the corners of your hair, neither the corners of your beard. Don't be scared, dreadlocks grow the beard too, man. Put a spine in that hair, do I mean? Natty Dread is not a joke, and Natty Dread is more than smoking herb and blunt. You can't use the meditation within creation to get some inspiration. You're really wasting your time. Stop smoking my Natty Dreads. Babylon swear I was you, mistaking my covenant for your hairdo with your dead Natty Dreadlocks hanging down. Chase those crazy bald heads. Chase those crazy bald heads. Chase those crazy deadlocks with their broken antennas. You're the reason my reception has been so bad lately. You wouldn't last 2 days in the hills with the Rasta man, moving in sync with the land, eating ital stew of rice and callaloo instead of your swine and cheese, man, please. Those cute little store-bought twists ain't gonna never dread up like this. These are Nyabingi roots, they grow straight up out of truth. I man see your bloody hamburgers and raise you vegetables and fruits. Barber's cheers. Barber shears. To crop your deadlocks to the ears so you can hear what I am saying to you. My Natty Dreads. Yeah. Not no bumbo clot here, do. And you know, in Rasta, well, in Rasta, I found strength. You know? Strength to finally love this big ass nose. And these big ass lips. And this blue black skin that got me so much ridiculing when I first came here. Strength to start loving on black women. And you know, I must be honest, really start exploring my lust so white today. I mean, I had gotten into them because when I first got here, sisters really wasn't digging on me, you know, it was pre-Shabba ranking and pre-dancehall, so Caribbean people weren't really that cool yet. You know what I mean? White kids who went on vacation with mom and dad to Jamaica and Montserrat and those kind of places, so that was kind of exotic, so they got into me. Little did they know that I was doing it because I wanted revenge, you know? Yeah. Think about the white man deflying our mothers in slavery. I was on that trip, you know? And one day out of nowhere, I remembered William Winters, white man William Winters. I think I was about 9 when he came to Antigua, a couple years after Daddy left, you know? The Baptist church we went to. Mommy fell in love with him. Mommy was happy. Mommy wasn't crying about Daddy anymore. And you know, to this day, when Mommy is happy, Kenny is happy, Iyaba is happy. So I was happy. And besides, it was kind of cool. Can't lie. watching the neighborhood kids watch us get into his cool car and drive off. Because in my neighborhood in them time, nobody had no car that they could call theirs. You know? We started sitting with him in church. We would go to restaurants with him, and he had this beach house right on the beach where the doctor went out into the ocean. He taught me how to snorkel, scuba dive, all these things. One day he asked Mommy to marry him, and she said yes. And now I'm thinking this man is going to be my new father. We were going to go to America and be a family, you know? And he said he just had to go back home to America and get his parents' approval. That was the last time we saw him. At first, I didn't even know what happened, you know? I just knew that Mommy was back crying again. And one night, I overheard her and my aunts talking about the letter. It seems his parents disapproved of his idea of marrying some Negro from the Caribbean and refused to give their blessings. The letter was how the coward chose to break the news to Mommy, you know? Everybody moved on as if nothing happened. Not Kenny. I was so pissed at myself for ever trusting that motherfucker. I eventually started hating all white people. One day changed my name from Kenny Ethel George to Cruz to Iyaba Ibo Mandingo. And started diving brain first into the journey my people took from the coast of Africa to today. Hey, Iyaba, where you get this Iyaba thing from? What happened to our name? My name, Kenny. Boy, your name, my name, our name is Kenny Ethel George de Cruz. Now, the Kenny is English, the George is French, the Ethel is Spanish, and the Cruz is Dutch. That's four countries, four names from four countries that raped Africa for centuries. Now, Iyaba is an African name. And you know Igbo are people from West Africa. And you remember Kunta Kinte from Mandingo, from Roots? Yeah. Well, he was a Mandingo. Oh, I thought it was because of that other thing. But well, watch your mouth and cut that out. It ain't got nothing to do with it. Now go play somewhere. I'm talking. So, brain first into discovering the journey my people took from the coast of West Africa to today. Grandfather? Your boy? Why you out here tell them people you can't judge all white people by the actions of a few? Don't hurt up your head trying to figure them out. Focus on you. You see that name change thing? I like that, boy. Back when I was a young man, we used to wonder what our surname was before the white people come T-Far and bring our here for cut to a king to them. I know you come and take a name that sounds more like how we look, boy. I love that. That is why we struggle so hard and work so hard in them days so that your generations and the generations that come after you can do whatever you want with your life. Yes, boy. He sits to me like a tired old warrior contemplating his youth. With battles lost and one of his search for truth. Imagining myself as him and traveling back in time to see America in technicolored black and white. When Ku Klux Klan King Bill crosses in the night in response to a black demand to a mutant, Southern magnolias brought dead, castrated, peculiar fruit. When Jim Crow sign showed us a water fountain, and before Martin Luther climbed his mountains. Through all of this encompassed small walk, this old man who sits next door, with skin so full of melanin, the South must have been rough for him. He must have swallowed all his pride to take America in stride and still be here at 86. In spite of all the stones and sticks they used to try to break our bones and Hoover's taps on Huey's phone and all the blood that spilled and ran from US manufactured guns and all the lying presidents. And all the times they raised the rent and all the blacks to war they sent to die for them. And all them sellout niggas who lie for them. Through all of this old man walked and still to sit and hear him talk, his strength remains. His pride remains. His love remains. His stride. It remains. He died this year, but I will not forget the debt we owe to those who came before us. Those who survived the plantations, North American cotton fields, the South American tobacco fields, to the Caribbean sugarcane fields, who are broken into compliance, broken into reliance on a system that taught us how to mistrust one another, how to hate each other. Brother, can you help me out? Can you spare some time? I am trying to figure out what is on your mind. Why don't you love freedom? Why don't you love you? Why don't you stand up with me when I stand up for you? Sitting in your stupor, taking what they give, holding on to stereotypes that tell us how to live, killing one another, dying every day. Baby mother running around trying to find a way to raise them seeds you're leaving all alone. Got them growing up like you with no daddy in their home. Come on, break the circle, brother. Teach them how to be a man. Teach them how to love their children so they don't get asked why they ran. And girl, I hear you clapping what I got to say, but you know I got a little bone to pick with you today. You ain't doing no better, holding up your hand. I just passed you at the nail salon, talking shit about your friends, talking about your sister, who man she done stole. Now she sexed the brother, they're the one with all the gold and the diamonds and the Lexus and the pockets filled with cash, trading honey for some money, pretty price tag on your ass. You got baby mama drama, got it coming by the stacks, and I don't think we're gonna make it, cause I can't live with how you act. Sister, can you help me out? Can you spare some time? I am trying to figure out what is on your mind. Why don't you love freedom? Why don't you love you? Why are you still fighting me when I fight to free you? Brother, sister, help me out, 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 help me, help me. Shit, I couldn't even get my little brother to listen. He gave into the ridiculing we endured, becoming a ridiculer, eventually becoming one of the biggest drug dealers in the history of our little New England town. Some angel dust of 45 and a wrong cat in front of his face landed him in Connecticut jail for the next 35 years of his life. Yeah, my little brother. I felt guilty. I mean, Daddy had told me to take care of him. I felt responsible, like I had killed somebody. I remember the Friday morning I opened the local paper and saw that it was going to be featured on America's Most Wanted the next day. I hid the newspaper, prayed that nobody watched TV that night. It was way down in the nights, some dudes were under a street light, wearing the latest in fashion. They were all chilling out a lot. Then all of a sudden a shot rang out. You could hear them shout, oh, blackout, 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 blackout in the ghetto. Oh yes. Blackout, 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 blackout in the ghetto. Oh yes. Rules and regulations. Jim Crow and segregation, token elevation, redundant, shitty situation, police infiltration, designer label exploitation of adolescent population, outdated regurgitation by a board of education that lacks the stimulation to educate our nation. Within this urban state, scared police decide our fate. Uncle Sam designates our Black History Day. So for one whole month, like good niggas, we sit and discuss the hate, and when we say justice, they say, wait. When we cry justice, they say, wait. When we scream justice, they still say, nigga, wait. Well, you could always look into this gate while you wait within your state, falling into metaphors of who we are supposed to be and what we are supposed to be. Urban youth, of course you fit the description. Didn't you see the inscription above the door? It says United States Courthouse, 1804. That means the Constitution supports this institution, so you know the foregone conclusion. Jail, nigga! Jail! $50,000 bail, get to you. Where is your mommy gonna find that kind of loot? Didn't that court-appointed attorney tell you the truth? You fit the description. I fit the description. We fit the description that says, white lady, hold your pocketbook closer to your breast. The policeman only aim for the head and chest, and then he will say, actually, it was dark. He was dark. There wasn't much light, and though the head impaired my sight, I thought he might. So I shot him. Still, some I sell drugs, some I bust guns, some trying to run till them tumble down. Blackout, 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 blackout in the ghetto. Oh yes. Blackout, 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 blackout in the ghetto. Oh yes. Blackout, 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 blackout in the ghetto. Oh yes. Blackout, blackout. The late 80s and early 90s, the era of crack cocaine. This was the cauldron in which we grew. Crack vials littered our sidewalks like discarded candy wrappers. Drug dealers hung on street corners waiting to race each other to the next sale. The flood of guns came into our communities alongside the crack gave everyone easy access to a gun. We started shooting, killing each other by the dozens. Innocent people got killed, giving the police an excuse to come charging in with their guns to fix the problems. Killing us by the dozens. Innocent people were killed. Amadou. Takes 41 bullets to quiet your fears. 41 times for your goosebumps. 41 times I grew in your eyes, 41 times to shrink me to size. 41 times you thought you saw a gun. 41 times I didn't try to run. 41 times and Big Mouth Rudy still can say 41 times a grand jury should lead the way. 41 times you still get paid leave. 41 times my mother would have to grieve. 41 spheres of your fear you hurled at me. 41 times my black skin was all you could see. 41 times to make you feel brave. 41 times I was a revenging slave. 41 times some lynch mob from your past moved like a spirit possessing your ass. 41 times you pulled out your rope. 41 times to strangle my throat. 41 times from 4 different cops. 41 times before one of you thought, stop! 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 41 times to make you feel calm. 41 times and I was never armed. 41 times for this racial schism to grow still more. 41 times more black blood spilled out on the floor. So yesterday I ordered 3 bulletproof vests. See, I have 3 boys to pass their test. That's 3 boys with melanin in their skin. So I'm teaching them about reaching for anything around the waist because I know you won't waste no time stealing their lives from me. I'm letting them know how to turn around. Real slow so you can know it's not the gun you see and send them home alive to you. I'm teaching them how to duck in case you try their luck. Duck, boy, duck, duck and roll, duck, roll some more. I won't let them outside the door of my eyes view. I pray to be with them when they run into you. I'm jumping out of bed with visions in my head of dead phone calls and standing in dark halls at the morgue with 1 million mothers crying, dressed in their best black dress, wishing they'd ordered my bulletproof vest. Or for protective, paranoid too. It's all I can do. It's all I can do. To keep my 3 sons safe from you, I'll make them allergic to policeman blue. What else can I do? I have 3 Amadous and I want to yell. They could be Sean Bell. I'm falling on the ground. They could be on my brow. think they got a plan. My daughters look like Sandra Bland. I feel like I'm in a void. What if they think I'm George Floyd? Officer, overseer, officer, overseer, overseer, officer, officer, overseer, officer, overseer. What should I do? Should I tell them to run from you? What should I do? I want the policeman to know it's not a gun he sees. Send my children home again tonight alive for me. Officer, overseer, officer, overseer, overseer, officer. Should I run from you? What should I tell him to do? Officer, overseer, officer, overseer, officer, overseer. Makes you want to find the tallest building in the city, climb up on top of it, yell down to them, "Hey! Hey! Stop shooting us! Our lives have value too!" 2001, yeah? 2001, I went to Jackson, Mississippi. Deep South for the first time. I was on tour, a national tour with 2 other poets. Over the country, we perform and teach in the local schools. So hook up with a friend in Jackson, Mississippi, and we got down there for 2 weeks. And it was funny because, sister, very Afrocentric sister, dreadlocks down her back. She called us on the phone teasing us. "Brother, listen, I got some news to tell y'all." "What's going on, sis?" "Well, when y'all come down here, make sure y'all cover up them dreadlocks. And please do not put on no heavy African garb. I don't want y'all scaring all these white folks down when y'all land at the airport." You know what we did, right? Landed in Jackson Airport like coming to America. Dashiki flowing. Dreadlocks flying. Man, people, everybody, purple, white, blue, orange, check this out that day, Well, Jackson now, if you don't know Jackson, Mississippi is actually one of our historical foundations when it comes to Black struggle in this country. Many of the early civil rights leaders are from there. Richard Wright is from there. Medgar Evers is from there. So we're driving. She's taking us a tour of the town, and she stops us. She goes, you know, her name's gonna jump. One of my very first writers, favorite writers. She has a piece called "For My People." She goes, that's her house. I'm like, girl, stop the car. I want to see what it is. Maybe she wrote my poem in that house. I want to take pictures. And I got the video camera going, and she pulls in like across the street. She backs into this other yard so we can get out. Check out her. Margaret Walker. Name just jumped back in my head. Favorite poet. She writes epic, these big, long poems. She has this piece called "For My People." It's like a declaration. You know, so I want to know if I'm filming and I'm psyched. And I stop for a second and look down. And it feels like I know where I'm at. I was in Medgar Evers' driveway. See, his house is diagonally across the street from Margaret Walker's house. And now the vibe comes all over me. I look across the street and I could still see the tree that the coward hid behind that stole his life. Emotions grip me, coming over me hard. You know, I cried a flood of tears. It felt like they had been welling up inside of me for generations, longer than I could even contemplate. My companions had to sit me down on the curb outside his house. It took over an hour to stop crying, man. And you know, it was in that moment that the historical assassination of a civil rights leader became real for me. I contemplated what it would be like to take his place and face his fate, like Brother Martin did, because he's who they went to replace Mecca. Already had a life planned, already could have become something, and he decided to stop. Wondering if we ever really sit and think about how serious these dedications are to our people and to struggle and to growth. Finally, I stopped crying, you know, and I was the big mouth that asked to go see a plantation. So Jonathan was like, hurry up, y'all, we gotta leave and go see the plantation. We pile into the car and we take off to the Walker plantation. When we pull off the road, we make this right off the road, and the trees are like in the way of the lane, so you can't really see what's coming, you know, and it's like they open up kind of forcefully as you can car move along. Get into the clearing, it's cleared out, and what they've done is they've taken the remnants of the big house, Master's house, and they put them behind a chain link fence to preserve them with a big old plaque that talked about how great this man was and how he left his family to go fight for the South in the Civil War and what a wonderful man he was. But at the same time, Qasim and Jade, my companions, they both complaining that their neck hurt. And I look up and I see a white cup of sort of Disney World in the place. And I'm thinking this is sacred ground. So I got pissed the hell off and started talking at the loud on top of my voice. Jolivet, who is very cultured, but very much from Mississippi and knows how that culture is like, brother, please calm down. You know, raise up African spirit. You don't want these white folks to get all riled up. Y'all just got here 24 hours ago. Please, brother. And I'm like, nah, sis, the hell with that. This is our sacred place. They can't be skipping through my through our shit over there. Oh my God, ice cream afterwards. Yes, let's do that. Ice cream afterwards. Nah, get the hell out of here. And I chased them away. John was like, brother, we gotta go. I see what you want right now. But it was too late. Because I was already searching the bushes for any remnants of the slave quarters where they kept the stolen Africans, but they weren't preserved. See, they were allowed, you could see in the tree, they allowed the trees to grow up and hide them, and then I was done. I stepped over the chain link and walked to what would have been the center of that house. And Jonathan said, brother, please now, come on, we gotta go. It's gonna be dust soon. We don't like to be out at dark. And you conjuring spirits, we need to leave now. I said, nah, sister, no. If there are any African spirits still trapped on this place who need a body to escape, take mine and let's leave this godforsaken place. Scared the hell out of Jolivet. She dragged us on the car, pushing the car. We piled into the car and took off. Everybody walking. Brother, what are you doing? What are you doing? We got into the car. Nobody said a word here. Sitting there listening. And I watched the trees out the window as we drove by. I mean, they were beautiful trees, you know? During the day, they would stand, trunks erect, limbs pointing to the heavens. But at night, they would shrug limbs pointing down as if they were depressed. Some of the trees covered themselves in their leaves from their roots up the trunk to the tips of each branch as if they were trying to hide. We drove the rest of the way in silence. We pulled into our driveway just as night stopped, just as night fell, and got out of the car. Walked back to the trunk to get our things. And that's when we saw them. Handprints everywhere, all over the back of the trunk. On the fenders, on the lights, on the trunk door, on the back windshield, everywhere. Handprints in that thick Mississippi mud, mommy hands and daddy hands, and grandma hands and grandpa hands, and auntie hands and uncle hands, and baby hands. Everywhere. All over the back of that car. Everybody looked at me, their mouths open. Nobody said a word. The next morning, we got to school, and we're telling the children about Mr. Walton, about the trip to his plantation. One of them stood up and told us the story of Mr. Walton. It seems that when he found out that Lincoln was planning to sign the Emancipation Proclamation, he took all of his stolen Africans to the front of that big house, hung them. That was the reason for the necking. That was the reason for the energy I felt in that place. That was the reason I felt the need to sacrifice my body so that our ancestors could have a vessel to leave that torture chamber. And that was about, a week before 9/11, right at the end of August. We came back home a couple of days later. I turned on the TV and saw America changing forever, amen. You know, like everybody, I ran for my pen and pad, wanted to be the poet that captured the moment and write that poem, that poem that talked about what I just saw, what America was going through, what was coming. That's not what came out. Trying to tell my brother, listen what I say, don't go down that way, they'll swing you from a tree. Listen to me, brother, don't you go down that way, they'll swing you from a tree today. Listen, my brother, to what I'm trying to say. Oh, yeah, Lord, planting the swing us from a tree today. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Lord. Yesterday, a tree spoke to me in Mississippi. She beckoned me to her softly, wanting no one to hear horrid tales of bearing strange fruit. Her truth. She'd always tried to hide behind the other trees by pulling in her limbs and leaves when they came, but that never made them leave her alone. Instead, she'd moan as they dragged another screaming body to her trunk. Bending over, she showed me the limb they would choose to hang the noose and cried a sticky sap as she placed the tortured limb into my lap so I could see the gas left in her skin from being abused again and again to lynch black men. And the sticky sap dripped on my face. She recalled the horrifying screams that haunted her dreams at night and how the victims fought the choking rope, choking hope away with hate, suffocating future dreams, asphyxiating life away with tarred and feathered flames. And sticky sap adored me as she recalled the smell of chewing tobacco and gasoline and fear and hatred and burning flesh and mocking laughter. Inhuman, Indifferent laughter that floated up to her upper limbs, blocking them from the sun, causing her leaves to wither and fall to the ground where her roots moaned in guilty agony, till she felt guilty. Guilty for being an accomplice to murder and torture, and now sticky sap poured from every pore of that tree onto me, and I had to hug that tree. So she could see that their hate was never hers in my eyes. I never blamed you for the hate of savages who used your limbs to perpetrate their cowardice. I never blamed you. We never blamed you. They never blamed you, those brothers and sisters who swung from your limbs, so don't cry, my sister tree. We know the fear and share the agony of not knowing when or how to run from this American hate. You know the 9/11 piece? That came months later. Amidst the xenophobia that was spreading across the country, flags, American flags flew from every conceivable place. You know, mommy began begging me to stop wearing my head wrapped in turbans, which I was doing at the time, and to cover up my dreadlocks. And mommy stopped talking so radical. She was right at the time. I mean, all of a sudden, with the dreadlocks and a big bag full of locks, I went from Bob Marley, man, hey, man, to, are you an Arab? Are you a Muslim? Are you a sand nigger? Friends, Muslim and Rasta friends who had grown their beards from adolescence as a sign of manhood and faith were now contemplating removing their beards to placate double-taking eyes, crying accusations. So I removed the turban and wrote, I wonder if I'll be ostracized, criticized by all you Americans in this room if I say the chickens have come home to roost. If you throw up your bloody hands lamenting, why me? What have I done? And now your shitty streets look like downtown Vietnam and Beirut, and the Congo and Palestine and Burundi and Grenada and Baghdad, and you throwing up your bloody hands. Lamenting of your plight of domestic flights, flying into famous landmarks, destroying famous skylines, destroyed. Like the hope of the people in the Congo when you replaced Lumumba with Mobutu. Like the hope of the people in Chile when you replaced Allende with Pinochet. Like the hopes of people in Jamaica when you replace Manu with Siaga. Like the hopes of African Americans when you replace Malik with Jesse. Like Soweto and Biko, destroyed. Like Kenya and Jomo, destroyed. Destroyed like your national security as innocent Americans die, wondering why they're not safe anymore. But see, reciprocity comes boomeranging back. Bringing with it the smell of death from Vietnam and Iraq and Nagasaki and repercussions for the years and years of hegemony as the memory of Japanese kamikaze shining like Pearl Harbors hijack American invincibility, hijack American superiority, hijack American invincibility to be spun into yellow journalism accusations and speculations about who done it. Now the chickens have come home to roost and all you want to do is throw up your bloody hands and they're bloody up to your wrists. Up to your forearms, up to your elbows, up to your armpits, up to your shoulders, up to your necks, up to the level of vengeance sometimes. And yes, innocent people die sometimes. Like 1 million dying in 100 days in Rwanda while you all change your channels. To congressional executive decisions, the third world heads of state trying to decide our own fate as African Americans wrap themselves in the flag. Born again patriots who forget that same flag flew over Jefferson's Monticello while he capitalized on captured African lives, creating American capitalism, the center of your foreign policy. And I see you watching me in my bed, scared. Could I be Osama, coming home with my chickens on this plane filled with drama? Boy, mommy was right. Mommy was right. That poem pissed a lot of people off. I did it 3 days after America invaded Afghanistan. And like 2 years after 9/11, the place was filled with conservative white people, you know? Looking to shimmy, it was a summer concert, spring concert. Looking to season, the Negroes shuck and jive and do some dancing. I wasn't in one of them kind of moods. I felt like chastising, so I let them have that peace. 3 days later, I'm on the toilet enjoying my morning constitution, reading Kefir Boy. And my son knocks on the door. Daddy, it's the FBI, it's the FBI. Put the spliff in the book, marked the page with clothes, and went to the bathroom. It's 2 local cops with an FBI warrant. I was being taken in for deportation 3 days after my 9/11 poem. The paper had over 50 editorials demanding I be kicked out, go to my own country, I don't like it here. This was the final conclusion. Came up to Hartford, spent 55 days in jail, waiting for them to arrange my deportation. They didn't realize community. You got behind me black people, white people, straight people, old people, young people, everybody, all the teachers I had worked with, all the principals I had worked with, a couple of people from the senior center I'd worked with for over 20 years, parents of some of my students, they all showed up in court that day. I was really humbled by the spectacle. But you know, mommy always say, when you do good, you get good. You know? And they all stood there in that court that day as I was led into court after 55 days in shackles. I stood before the judge while he read the verdict. Mr. Mandingo, I've been reviewing your case and have been made quite aware of the criminal things that transpired some time ago. It should also be noted that some of your community actually speak very high of you. Some of them have even called you an asset, a leading in the community. And after much conclusions, I've come to the decision you do not deserve to be here. Not here in an immigration trial. You should be back home in your community helping your people. Mr. Mandingo, sir, you're free to go. Blew everybody's mind, you know. I remember walking out and this Haitian woman coming to me and saying, son, I've been coming to this place for 9 years since they drove my son. I never see anybody walk out that front door yet. And I came out there with a mission, realizing that sometimes when you aspire for things and you talk about things like, you know, I know I must be burnished in the fire like all of my heroes, it will come because the universe listens always. And that was my burnishing. So I came out of there and I made up my mind to never look back, to never stumble, to never allow any of the stereotypes out there to be me, to never become my brother. I was going to balance the negative energy put out on me by murdering someone. I felt I didn't need as the older brother to balance. That became my aspirations. And eventually, as the years went by, I went to Africa. Yes, a month and a half in South Africa, living in the hills of the Makwa land with the original people. And then almost 6 months in Nigeria, where I'm from, seeing my face, and realize I'm not ugly and I'm not black and I'm not, these are not big and this is not, I look like this because I belong to a people. And you walk and you see people walk by that make you look light skinned, you're like, you know, and you're there 5 months and you count and you realize you see 4 white people in 5 months on your hand and you realize they feel good. You wait 6 months and you realize you see 7 white, but every time you see white people, they got guards and they're nervous. And you say, I feel good. You know? And when it's time to leave, you finally go to the ocean. Because you know the ocean is the last place your people were. The last place your people saw in this place. The last place your people put their foot. So you go to the ocean because you want to make a shape. Tell them give thanks for surviving death, white man hell, for you to be here. And in that moment, I remember all those years ago, that Iowa jail, those white people tried to lock me up, getting their daughter pregnant. One night, praying to the Jesus I was taught in school, one I never felt close to. I called my grandmother's name. We Africans do, the way indigenous people do. We ask our ancestors to talk to the Most High for us. And it's the first time I felt like I talked to God, to talk to the Creator. And I remember that night, 2 ancestors coming, a man and a woman entering, coming and saying, boy, if you bring us back to Africa one day, we will give you the gift that we have all had in our family for generations, this gift of acting, of poetry, of painting. And So I started to write. The first poem I wrote was in that, just like I told you in this piece. Don't be afraid of me. And I remember trying to go into the water because I'm from fishermen, so I love the water. I won't go in and swim and dive and swallow water. And the water would not let me in it. Push me back out. Second time I go in, push me back out. And mind you, all the brothers and sisters, I met many, many friends there, people I love dearly. They wouldn't come on the sand. That's how deep the psychology that what they have done to us. They don't know why. They just know that they don't go to beach. They don't go in the water. They don't go to sand. So I dragged them. I was there for months and months. I'm begging them to go beach, go beach. And finally, I realized it's time to go. I tell them, we go in beach. I rent the car, we go beach. And they would not come. I couldn't get them to step from the pavement to the sand. And coming onto the water was unheard of. They were like, no, brother, I'm not going to. You can go yourself. I don't go that place. So I go and after 3 tries, I realized I'm not supposed to go into the water. But there's a cemetery. I ain't supposed to be going into the water with no joy, like I'm going to frolic and I'm going cemetery. So I change up my vibes and I back up. I say my shade. I go and I allow the water. I stand up and I allow the water to come to me. And when the water touch my shins, I hear my grandmother in my head. Boy, I will now come back with you. I said, Mother, what am I going to do? How will I paint? How will I be a poet? None of those things are from you. I've never been clever enough to say the things I say and paint the things I paint. You guys have always, is the promise. I kept my promise. How could you guys leave me to say, boy, it's over 400 years. I will dip on this side over there with them crazy people. I will not come back for an I left here. I will not left here. And I knew it was true because as God is my witness, as Obatala is my witness, as Azumari is my witness, I know there were days I would get up from the house and go out wandering and wake up hours away from where I was. I remember one day I'm sitting and I come back to myself and I'm talking with a man, an African, a Yoruba, who's talking Yoruba to me, and I'm talking with him. And when I'm wondering, how am I talking? And then I remember as I know to say, Oludumari and Ifemi, which is my love, and Monifere Gongon, which is I love you very, very much. And they just jump in my head. And I realized I'm talking full pidgin. They're broken English. And my brother, tell me now, where can I get Plantino? And they're like, brother, how are you talking like this? How are you hearing us so clear? And I'm like, Africa, my grandmother. And you know what she said to me? We're not coming with you, but we're going to make you realize that thing was always inside of you. This in our blood, this thing, this art thing, this storytelling thing. So you won't lose anything. All you will realize now that it's up to you to paint. And so Kenny Papo to say, Kenny never leave, you know. I change. Most people, when they change their name, they say, don't call me by that name no more, yo. That's my slave name. No. That name is connected to me still. The insecurity is Kenny. The shy boy is Kenny. Julian's son is Kenny. So Kenny lives with me. So Kenny always come on. Whenever I get too big for myself and I pass a mirror, Kenny's in there like this. Hi. Don't forget everybody used to tease us. So Kenny always pops out. So Kenny pop out. Man, wow, Iyaba. So now what are we going to do? Kenny, first let me say, take a lot of years, but man, I love you. Boy, I love you. Love you. I love your nose and your lips. Love all of you. I love you too, Iyaba. I'm so glad I became you. So what are we going to do now? Well, Kenny, we're going to paint and we're going to write. And we're going to tell the truth and be a witness. Thank you. Thank you all, thank you all, thank you all.
House lights.
I'm clapping you all because the energy that you give me is what I give back. So thank you all. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. All. Wonderful, wonderful. Anybody have any questions? Anybody want to say anything? Anybody want to anything at all? Please feel free. Anyone?
Hi, you are amazing.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Mama. I'm just
You are amazing.